Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to 501st. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Lorraine 40T, the Tier 8 French medium tank that is available for purchase with gold or real currency today, whether you should get it or not, and if you don't get it, then how to defeat it or what other tank you should get. So first, you can purchase it with gold if you go into the advent calendar just today, the December the 18th. It is 9,900 gold, and it also comes with the 25 times 5 experience multipliers. Or let me go ahead and exit out of this. Or you can get it on the World of Tanks premium shop for, let me go check, 400, 400, no, $43.53 for the cheapest. You can also get some more expensive ones. They come with more stuff, but $43.50 for the cheapest. So I'm going to be comparing it to some other Tier 8 autoloaders and which ones you should get, and then I'm going to follow it up with a replay, and we'll just go from there. So first, I'll pull up the comparison on the Wonderful Tanks GG website. I really suggest you come check it out. They have comparisons, they have armor viewers, they have a bunch of different stuff. So I've compared it to the Barasque, which is another Tier 8 French medium. I think the Lorraine is a bit on the heavier side compared to the Barasque, but still it could add to the comparison. The Emil 1951, the Swedish heavy autoloader. The Skoda T27, the Czechoslovakian Tier 8 premium autoloader. The Progetto 46, which is an auto reloading. It has an auto reloading gun, which means it can reload its shells without having to fire all of them first. And the Samoa SM, which is a French Tier 8 heavy autoloader. So right away you see that this tank has the second worst DPM, which probably isn't going to do it that good, but if it can have that big clip damage, which we'll have to see if it does have, then it could make up for that bad DPM. So the Progetto 46 has the most because it has that auto reloader, and so we'll move on to the penetration. Now this is actually really good for the Lorraine 40T. It has 232 on an autoloader, so that means you're not going to have that much of a struggle trying to pen tanks with your autoloader. The Samoa SM also has that 232, but it's much better than the Barasque, which only has 190, so that's 42 more than the Barasque. So its damage per shot is kind of on the weaker side. It's better than the Skoda T27 and the Progetto 46, but it's definitely lower than the Barasque and the Emil 1951. But just remember that the Barasque, it only has a 2-shell cannon, which is kind of a lot worse than these higher damage clips. So the rate of fire on this tank is mediocre, and the clip size is actually quite good, 4 instead of the normal 3 that most of these tanks have. And then the Samoa SM has 5. I think that's why it has that high DPM. And as I said, the Barasque only has 2. But this is where this tank really shines with that 1,200 clip damage. And it takes 7.5 seconds to get off, so it's not going to be like the Barasque where it just takes 2 seconds, or the Progetto where it takes 4 seconds to pop off all your rounds real fast. But you can put a couple rounds there, put a couple rounds there. You can just kind of take your time. It's worse than the Samoa SM, but it still has that damage and pen. So maybe the Samoa SM's gun is better, but we'll just have to see what's the difference. The interclip reload is pretty bad. 2.5 seconds. I mean, it might have been better. It'd be a lot better at 2 seconds, but it'd also make it quite powerful. But it's nothing compared to the 1.8 on the Skoda T27 or the 2 on the Progetto. But it's still a lot better than the Emil, which has 2.75. It takes 5 seconds to just only put off 1,000 damage. And also, its pen is second best, so that could make a little bit of sense. It has a 100 millimeter caliber gun, very similar to the Samoa SM. I'm pretty sure the Samoa SM and the Lorraine 40T's guns are very similar other than clip size and reload. Oh yeah, I didn't cover reload. It has 35 seconds of reload, which is kind of on the slower side other than the Samoa SM, but then also the Samoa SM gets that extra shell. So I would say the Samoa SM's gun is better overall, but this one could probably take a good second in between these ones if you like that burst damage. If you really want fast burst damage, I would go Shikoda T27, but this one can get some good sniping damage, and let's move on to the next thing. It has 48 ammo. It'll probably get you through the battle, more or less. It's better than the Barask's 36 ammo, and the aim time on this tank is kind of in the middle. It's not good, it's not bad. So is its dispersion, except this is kind of on the better side, maybe. Better than the Samoa SM, so it has better dispersion values than the Samoa SM. It blooms up a lot when the tank is moving, so make sure you might want like some actually, I don't think you can put vertical stabilizers on an autoloader, so you might need like a rotation device or an enhanced gunling drive or both. You might just want to slap those on the tank. It does have quite good dispersion values when its turret is moving though, and its firing, it's pretty much the base firing for all the French tanks and the Emil, so it's not good, but it's not bad. Its depression, however, has 8 degrees of it, which, while it might not be the best gun depression, like the 12 on the Emil or the 10 on the Samoa SM, it's enough to get you onto those ridges and do some pretty fair damage. And then it has 15 degrees of gun elevation, not bad, not good. Now, forward speed of 60 kilometers an hour is only 2 behind the speedy Barask. The Barask is actually a very, very mobile tier 8 medium tank. You can actually play it more like a light tank if you like, but it's also very powerful because it has that 2-shell burst cannon that does 720 damage. So that is actually a really good statistic of this tank, that fast speed. It's faster than all of the other tanks, especially the Samoa SM, but keep in mind the Samoa SM and the Emil are both heavies, so they will also excel in their armor more. So the reverse speed of this tank is right on par with the Barask and better than all the other tanks as well. And it actually weighs a very healthy 40,000 pounds. I think this is pounds, maybe whatever type of weight this is, but 40,000. It's only 16,000 less than the Samoa SM, which is a heavy tank. And it's right on par with the Shikoda T27, so you could actually do some pretty good ramming in this tank, especially with the 21 specific power that it has. About as much as the Shikoda T27, but as I said, the Barask is really fast. It has 25, but it's much better than the two heavies, and it's quite better than the Progetto 46 even. Its resistance is okay, not good, not bad. And then its armor. This tank doesn't really have that much armor. It's not really going to be able to do very much at all. I'll look at the diagram right after this to show you what I'm talking about. The Emil has that 180 turret armor, and it's really slanted. And it has 100 hull armor. But then especially the Samoa SM, it has 140 hull armor and 120 turret armor. So those tanks are going to be blocking a lot of shells. That's why their speed isn't as good. So you're not going to want to rely on this tank for armor. It's 1,300 health. It's right in the middle. It's worse than the Shikoda T27 and the Progetto 46, but it's better than the Barask, so it's kind of in the middle. And then finally, it's camo. It's okay. You can do a little bit of sniping, but also this is a pretty meaty tank, so you're not really going to be able to hide that much. 380 view range is right in the middle as well, and 750 signal range is also as well in the middle. But then its shells cost 1,030, which is quite a lot for a tank like this. And then if we come over here, you see its gold rounds only give it 30 more pen, which can be kind of bad. And also they cost 4,000 to shell with that burst tank, and they only give you 30 more pen. And how much more? They give you 250 more shell velocity. And you're probably not going to be firing HE in this, as you only have 50 pen, for only gaining 100 more damage. So now let's check out the 3D model so I can show you what that awful armor is going to look like. All the green spot they can pen, and all the purple spots is going to be a ricochet. So even with this autoloader, they're going to easily pen you almost all the time. You might get a couple lucky bounces if you angle, if they just get some lucky hits. And then also you see that this 8 degrees of gun depression is actually quite good for the ridgeline. And yeah, so now let's go ahead and jump into the replay. Okay, so we're going to be watching Bartid 100 in the Lorraine 40T on Sand River. So as you can see, this tank is quite a large tank for being the speed that it is. It can get about from 45 to 50 kilometers an hour, and as he's going downhill, you see that he's reaching that 60 kilometers an hour top speed on this vehicle. So he's going over into the dunes over here, which is usually where I like to go in my faster mediums. And as you can see, he's asking for help because all 3 of the tank destroyers are just sitting back there, and he doesn't have anyone that's actually going to be coming up there to be helping him out. So we'll just have to see what happens. As you can see, a bunch of heavies are just going straight through the trench. So we'll see how that works out for them. And also an interesting thing about this battle is both armies have 3 platoons. So he spots a Centurion 1, the tier 8 British medium tank. Looks like he's turning his attention to this IS-3 that's on the other side. He misses his first shell, and he's still aiming over there, but then he sees a Centurion. For some reason, the Centurion falls back down. Maybe he spotted some stuff, but he takes a meaty hit from the 50 TP on his team, and it burns him to death in 1 shell, which is really nice and gives Bartid 1,450 spot damage right off the bat. So he's still kind of aiming over there by the heavies, and as you can see, the Jagdtiger says that he'll help him, but the M46 Patton, the tier 9 American medium tank, appears right there. He appears to have gone down this ridge right here. And now you can see the speed of this thing. It can accelerate quite fast. And now 1, 2, and 3 shells right into the M46. He does take a hit from it, and there are 3 heavies right on the ridgeline, so Bartid better get out of there. They have a Conqueror, a Carnarvon, and a 50 TP. So we got out of there quick using the mobility of this vehicle, and as you can see, the interclip reload of this tank is really horrid. It took him, let me do the math, 5 seconds to get those 3 shells off, and that was just 3. If he had saved, maybe he should have tried reloading, because maybe he would have been able to finish off the M46 Patton, but he did. Maybe he wouldn't have had time to reload, maybe it would have taken longer. So now he's fully reloaded with a new clip, and he pops out, and he's going to take some shots at the Carnarvon. He puts 1 shell in, he puts a 2nd shell in, but the Carnarvon does disappear. Somehow he blocks 400 damage from the Conqueror, and he blind shots the Carnarvon twice, and the Carnarvon is out of the game. So now you see how powerful that really high clip damage is if you have time to get all those shells in. And as you see, he's going back and forth and back and forth. So now he's getting out of that position because he doesn't want to get cornered. But the M46 Patton is destroyed, and the Conqueror is destroyed now. And that puts his assistance damage at 3,000 pretty early in the game. And as you see, it says, sorry, JG, which is the Jagdtiger, because unfortunately he abandoned him and the Jagdtiger died. So now he's moving back up the flank as the Conqueror and the M46 Patton are both dead. Now there's only a 50 TP, and it looks like his team is probably going to win this one. They took the trench, and the M46 Patton just has a linked 6x6 over there, and he does spot the 50 TP, and does he get spotted? No, his 6th sense didn't go off. He takes a shot, but he misses. Will he get spotted after that shell? He takes another one. He doesn't pen either, but fortunately he does not get spotted, and it looks like they have an IS-3A, a ISU-152, and a Hawk 30, all coming in to support his position. Maybe the Scorpion will come too. We'll just have to find out. So the Hawk 30 is going out there to spot. We'll see if he gets some spots on the 50 TP. It looks like he does, and he just entered his view range. Okay, so let's see. He hasn't got that much damage so far, only 1,500. But he does have those 3,000 spot assistance damage, because what you really need to do in this vehicle is you have that autoloader to get the damage in, especially against lower tiers, but then you also have that speed and you have decent view range to be able to spot those vehicles and get that assistance damage and use your many shells to track and then shoot and then hope that your teammates can also put some shells in. So this tank is really, you can play it as purely damage, you can play it as purely assistance, just tracking with your shells, or you can blend it together, and Bartid 100 has done a very good job of blending them together in this round so far. He has 1,500 damage and a kill, and he has secured this flank for his team, and now they have an army advancing on this one lone 50 TP. The other flank is kind of light. They only have a SPG and a medium, and he spots the SPG. Maybe their SPG will get some shells in, or maybe, but he's already shut down by the T-30, the Tier 9 American tank destroyer. So he has advanced into this position on the side of the 50 TP. You see that gun depression isn't the best thing. Luckily, the 50 TP just tracked him, but the gun depression on this thing definitely isn't the best, as he couldn't really aim all the way down into the hole, and he bounced off the turret. And they do have a very healthy T-95 and T-30 heavy American tank destroyers on that hill right there, so those might be some hit points to whittle down. So all of their tanks are quite healthy in this battle, but those two are kind of low, so this battle is actually a lot closer than it might seem. So he's just kind of sitting here right now trying to keep the 50 TP there. The 50 TP drives out too far and forgets about him. He does pen in one shell, but then aims up a little bit too high and misses the other one. But it does look like the IS-3A and the Scorpion are going to come in soon. Hopefully they do. I'm not sure why, but these three very heavy tanks are just sitting in the trench. And as you can see, he's just kind of waiting for the 50 TP to come out a little bit too far and kind of forget about him, and then he can jump up there and put a couple shells in. So let me speed up this part just a little bit, and he is reloaded now. So I'll just keep this on fast forward. The SPG does hit him, and then he pins in one shell. And now the IS-3A and the Scorpion are both moving in to help rush the 50 TP. And he is one of the last powerful that tanks has that mobility and the armor. So if they can take him down, then it's probably just going to be like a snipe fest until they do shut the tank down, the other tanks down. And the IS-3A does shut down the 50 TP, so that is really great. So the Lorraine 40T Bartid is coming up, a very healthy ISU 152, and he doesn't want to get hit by one of those really meaty shells. But he does, unluckily, and he does raise his gun at the end and does get killed. So that shell was really unfortunate for Bartid now, because that T-95 could one-shot him, the T-30 could probably one-shot him depending on what gun he's using, and the Standard B could kill him in probably 2 shots with his clip. So now he's loading APCR now, because the Standard B doesn't have that much armor, but the T-95 and the T-30 are both going to be very tough targets to take down. So this really just shows you the awful reload that's on this tank. So the T-95 is aiming in his direction. I'm going to speed this part up a little bit too. So now he's up to 2,700 damage and 3,250 spot damage. So now he's just keeping the spots on this T-95, making him not be able to turn over there. And I believe he's driving that way, so then that he gets unspotted. And then the T-95 is stunned, so he doesn't see the Lorraine 40T Bartid. And he's driving that way. And then he puts in 1 shell, 2 shell, 3 shell, and 4 shell. So that's 1,153 damage to the T-95. All that damage to the T-95 was just by Bartid. So that was a very good play there. He drove this way to make it seem like he was going this way. And then when the T-95 pulled out, he put in all 4 shells. So now there's only 2 tanks left, as the Standard B was destroyed. So he's almost reloaded. There's a T-30 who's kind of trying to hold this flank right here. Well, not for long, as Bartid tracks him and deals 330 damage. But he does miss that other shell. Now he can't get hit by the T-95 or else he would die. T95 is aiming in his direction. So he's going to pop out and put in one shell there that criticals them and destroys his tracks, and then he might as well just pick up that extra assistance damage real quick, hoping that somebody will shoot him, and yes, he does. So very nice round by Bartid, 4,194 damage and 4,237 spot damage. Okay guys, if you like this video, please subscribe and leave a comment. If you have a replay that you'd like to send me, send it to my email, which will be in the description below, and we'll see you next time.